Hey everyone, I love file folders. They're so versatile. You can do so many things with them. And these were parts of file folders that I had dyed. And when I cut them to make other things, I had leftover pieces like this. And I made lots of little file folders, like mini file folders. And some I haven't done anything with. There's some coffee dyed and some avocado, and some I haven't done anything with. But some of them I cut wrong. And so I decided to make writing spots out of them. And I've just done different ways. This was one that I cut it all right. And so I left it as like a mini file folder. And this is all of the stencil that was there from the dyeing process. I just added a little bit of label, like address labels that I had printed on, kind of grunged them up, tore them, did a little stenciling with, made it look like coffee cups. I also went through some things and I found this box from Catherine, and it had these little baby clothespins in it. So I just inked it up and put it on the top of that one, thinking that would be a neat thing to put, in a journal, and then you could use that like a page mark or something like that. This one I had pieces of Florentine paper left from a project like this. And so I cut it to cover one side. So the back side still has some really neat dyeing on it, and it can be a wonderful writing spot. I distressed the edges some, forgot to ink the back. And, I did some folding. I like to fold and then, make it look like it's been really worked hard. And then I did do a little bit of distress inks on there, did a little stamping. And that one, that's how easy that was. This one, I have some vintage labels. Here's some like this. I had two different sizes, and I actually had these on one of my live sales, and I thought, wouldn't that be cute to just, cover, like put that down on one piece. So I did a little inspected stamp and the number, like maybe this was an actual product that had gone through the inspection service. I inked it up a little bit, distressed it, did some tearing on it, and then you have a great writing spot. And all I did was glue down a label. So I thought we could make a few, one or two today, out of some of these that I have left. Like this one, you can see I messed it up when I was cutting it to make a file tab. I cut the wrong side. So I cut the short side instead of a long side to make it look like a tab. So I think what I'll do on this one is I'll just cut it in two, and we'll make a writing spot out of both of these. And this is where I did my little notch out. And I'm just going to cut across here. Probably not doing a very straight job. That's not terrible. So then I have a tab, and I'll make it look something like a little writing spot. So I think I'll round the corners on this one. I guess I'm going to start with this short piece, ain't I? That's how it's kind of taken off there. So I'm just going to round these corners. Make sure I got this one good. I wasn't looking at the back. I find that if I don't look at the back, I don't get it in there very good. And then I'm just going to ink it up. Probably, I think I'll distress it a little bit first. You can see I've kind of bent it when I was trying to do that. So what I'll do is I'll just bend that over and ink it and make it look like I meant to do that. And I'll just ink around it. I like when you distress it, it's like it just sucks that ink into all those places that we just tore up. I like the look of that. So I've really roughed up this little piece here. I like it. Now this was one of the avocado dyes. You can see all the I think you can on the camera. You can see this is very pink on the inside. Not from the avocado, but I was trying to make it look even more pink. So I sprayed it with some distress sprays and different things and gave it the pink look. But not everyone has the vintage label. So I got out my folder here of things that I've printed, you know, in the past or whatever, years ago. And I'm trying to use some of those. I found this label, so I think I'm going to probably use some of these. These were the labels, like address labels that I had printed on. And that's what I used on the one folder. So I have different prints. I think that's the one I used. I had some vellum pieces that would look neat on something. Looks like I've stamped on some acetate. That would look good. There's just so many. This would look neat on one of the folders, wouldn't it? Didn't even look at that. Isn't that neat? I may have to end up putting that on something. Maybe I'll put it on this one. You know, this would make a good, this I think I'll save for like a specimen card. So I think I'm going to cut out one of these short ones and use on this. And I tell you, I don't get too worried about my fussy cutting because I normally tear up the edges anyway, so, and distress them or put some ink on them, you know, so I don't get too worried about my fussy cutting. Ooh, that looks good. And this, I printed this evidently on just some really thin copy paper. So I'm going to tear that. And another thing I did on these cards, this one has more pattern on it, but I think I'll still do it just to show you how I done it before. It's not hard. It's just, so I took my whole ink pad and I started from the edge where I like drug it over the edge of it to give it a really nice dark look. I think that gave it a really distressed look that I really thought was pretty. Do you like that? I like that. And then I'm going to take my label that I've cut here and just ink around it. And then I'm just gonna, I think I want to fold some, like there's lines in it, you know, like it's been folded or worn. I like that look. I like doing that. So that looks pretty. So I think I'll just put that down here. And I'm going to leave this kind of folded up where it's torn right there. I like that look. Maybe on the edge. And then I think I'm going to stamp a number at the top. I like to use, I was using this sepia, but I think I want to use this black. And I'm going to stamp it off where maybe it's not super dark. It'll look like it's maybe a little worn, but it'll still be dark enough to really show up well. Kind of like that. I like that look. And then I thought after I glue this down, I might just hit it with the inspected thing, just like I did on the other one. I like that, the way that came out. Very frustrated with my whole reorganizing. It's not going very good. This desk here is still covered. I don't know. I have big ideas and I just don't get it done. It just doesn't. It's like Jane said, it's like I try and then I get sidetracked and all the things. I'm going to glue back this little torn piece too so it lays looking like it's torn, and I'll ink that. Then I'm going to take my inspected label again. Do the same thing, kind of stamp it off on my little pad here where it's not super dark. Yeah, like that. And then just kind of, I'm kind of going across my, yeah, like that. Something like that. Do you think that looks neat? What I wanted to do was take some sandpaper, you know, my little Tim Holtz sander that looks like this, but it has a sanding thing on it. But I can't, you know, in this mess, can't locate it to save my life. So, and I did get a regular sanding block. I tried my file, you know, like embroidery, or I'm sorry, emery board file. I didn't like the looks of that either. And see, I don't really like how it's smearing my thing more than anything. So I'm just going to leave that like it is. Call it good. One more thing I might do is stamp some coffee rings. Just like that. And we have a really neat, old-timey looking, I might do writing spot. Might do that pulling on the edge on the back too. That's just too pink for me to use. There, I like that better. Okay, so there we have one quick writing spot done so fast. And here's the piece that I cut off from that, so it's a little bit bigger. I think I may leave that pattern on the back for writing, and I'll distress ink work up this side that's kind of plain, since it was on the inside of the folder, I'm sure, and didn't get as much dyeing. And that way, whatever I do on the front here, I think I'll start with the distressing it. And when you pull it in, it's like when it hits that edge, it really makes it dark, and I like how that looks. Let's see, what do we want to put on this one? I was going to look in my file folder again and see what kind of goodies we have. Looks like we've got some rustic looking labels. Maybe I'll pull one of those out and we'll figure out something to do with that. Like those. Here's some more of the printed labels. I like the looks of this label. I think we're going to use that. I don't really know how that's going to play in with our metal tag over there, but we're going to... I bet we can make it look cool even if it doesn't make sense. It'll look neat. What do you think? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rough up the edges. Again, this is really thin copy paper, so it's just basically tearing, which is wonderful because I don't have to work very hard at distressing it. It's just kind of distressing itself. I maybe have some that aren't quite as big. I guess these are probably about the same, but I thought maybe something a little smaller would be best. So let's see. Also think about something like this on one where we can put some brads. That might be fun. So I'll just go ahead and cut out 2 of those that we just might use. See, I've distressed that pretty good, so I'm going to cut this little tag out. I was noticing that label is for some kind of a syrup, maybe like a medicine. So I was wishing I had a little, one of the little, you know, the poison, hazardous, or whatever medicine signs that are sometimes on labels, and I would stamp that on here, but I don't think I have one in my little box here. I think I have one, but you know, it's probably no telling where right now. So I'm just going to do something like this. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I was thinking maybe like it would be a label, like look like a pharmacy label, but obviously it doesn't. It looks like it's metal, so that doesn't make much sense. This looks like it has a bunch of numbers and things on it. I might just stamp that in there. Like maybe it has a date, which, I mean, you know, if it were a prescription, it would have a, yeah, that might work. Let's use that. Liking how that looks. I don't know what this says, but just looks like it might fit there. Something like that. So I'm going to glue these down. I don't know that that really fits there. I just thought it was pretty and I wanted to use it. So that's why it is on there. I don't know, you know, like a prescription card or whatever. It really doesn't look like that, but I think it looks neat. I think it's a fun writing spot. So again, I'm going to round the corners, I think. Maybe just small version. And there we have another cool writing spot. I really like that. So we have two pretty quick. I would like to do one more with this one just because I think it's, I don't know, I just like how it looks and I want to, maybe we can do one that's really not decorated so much. It just kind of has this on it with some brads. Maybe instead of the, ooh, that might look good, the inside of it. So let's flip it. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to ink around it, distress it a little bit. We're not going to do a lot to this one. Has some of that blue and different colors in it. I don't know. No telling what was all done with this one at this, you know, whenever it was the dyeing process. I mean, there was no telling what I dyed with it. So kind of neat. I love the colors. So I think I'm going to stamp a little number at the top. See if I've got what I've got in here that might make sense to go across that. Let's do a certified. How about that? So I think I'm just going to use my small punch here. And I think I'm going to put them on before I glue it down. That way maybe they're not all the way through the back. Or not. I think I will because this paper isn't very thick. And if I glue the brads, you know, under it, it's just going to be real lumpy looking or maybe possibly come through my paper because this that I printed it on is not very thick. I think rather than try to hit that same little hole, my eyes are not My eyes are not working the best. I think I just took my awl to poke through the holes. And there we are. Isn't that neat? I love this. I might do some lines underneath here. I don't know. But I don't think it needs too much. And then if you didn't like the brads being on the inside, you could in it. I think that would look neat. I think I'll just do a few little droplets here. Stencil that to go along with my coffee splatters. I really like that. So there we have it. We have 3 really quick writing spots and, things that we can tuck into our journals. And I just love it. You don't have to have vintage things to make vintage looking pieces. I mean, you wouldn't have to make your pieces grungy either. If you don't like grungy, find pretty printables or pretty labels, or don't grunge up the labels like I did. I really do like these like this, and I have some that I will probably bring again. Well, they're the same ones, but if anybody's interested, catch one of our lives, and I'm sure they'll be on there. The Italian paper, we just had a sale. It closes Saturday, August 23rd at noon Central Time. So if you want to go back and watch that Italian paper live, we will still honor those prices through Saturday at noon. So I hope you like these. They were lots of fun and super quick. And if you have file folders where you've cut pieces off of them, or you didn't use the whole thing, get those out. They are the perfect way to make writing spots and so easy to do. And you don't have to have ones that are already dyed. You've seen how we just run over it with our distress inks and we made them look like they were dyed. So much fun. I hope you'll give these a try. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I will see you next time. Bye.